Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Love It or List It, the series on my channel where I attempt to renovate the default EA builds. So it's been a while since I have done an episode of Love It or List It. It was one of the first series ever on my channel when I started my channel like 4 years ago. So it's a series that is very near and dear to my heart and I really love it. But over the years, it's just kind of, I haven't really revisited it in a long time. So basically with this series, I generally like to keep myself within a budget and I also like to limit packs. So in this case, we are renovating the iconic Streamlet Single base game starter home on the Bargain Bend in Willow Creek. Now this is a very iconic and nostalgic home for me. I feel like when I first started playing The Sims 4, this was the first home that I ever put my sim in. And quite honestly, the home is quite tragic. The windows were not even straight. It had this weird green theme going on. So it's something that definitely needs a lot of work. So today's renovation will be a base game renovation and I will be keeping this home as a starter home. So I think the lot was worth approximately $14,000 before, or maybe $15,000. So I kept it under $20K. So I only used the existing furniture and then whatever extra budget I had from selling off some of that furniture. So that's one of my favorite parts about Love It or List It on my channel, is I try to preserve the original kind of integrity and feel of the home. I don't want to just bulldoze it and do something completely different. Sometimes I'll even keep the layout a little bit too, and generally just give it that appearance that it's still the same home and still has the same bones. I have just given it a major facelift. So I'll link the series and the playlist down below if you want to check out more. I'll warn you in advance, it is like so old, so a lot of my videos are just when I was a little baby on YouTube back then. So hopefully now that I'm a little bit more experienced with building, I can revamp this series into something, really fun. And I think also the base game 4 years ago was so different than the base game now. So that's also what inspired me to want to revisit this lot in particular. Is back in the day, the base game renovations, we were very limited because we didn't have a ton of nice objects. They were kind of outdated. We didn't have as many swatches. But nowadays, the base game has evolved so much. We have platforms. We have the ability to, move windows and doors on a half panel, and there's just so many new swatches and items that are now in the base game, like all of that CC that was added into the base game a year or two ago. So I think the base game now is a lot nicer and a lot better than the base game 4 years ago. So I think that doing a base game renovation now would still look a lot different than any other renovations that may already be out there in the world on YouTube from years ago. So you can see here already I am going on to the interior, and I made the outside, I kept the shape of the home exactly the same. I didn't touch the roof or anything like that. I even kept the same windows. I just changed all of the swatches. So instead of that green, I gave it this nice, welcoming, suburban blue paneling, made the roof a darker texture, and then just gave the roofing some nice white trim. So overall, I kept the exterior pretty much the same. I also changed it from tall wall height or medium wall height to short wall height, because I think short wall height looks a lot better. And I also ended up giving the home a little bit of a driveway. I don't know if you noticed it on the left hand side. I put a cute little truck from Debug and then just made a little driveway because it kind of looked like there was a driveway on the lot, like the way that the pavement is there on the lot kind of makes it look like it could be a driveway. Obviously we don't have real cars yet, but a lot of that stuff on the outside was actually free because I got it from the Debug menu. So all of the landscaping I end up using from Debug, the cars from Debug, the fencing is from Debug, just to save some money because this does have to be under 20,000 simoleons. So here into the inside, I kept the layout pretty much the same. I just opened up the kitchen area a little bit more so it felt more open concept. I am giving this more of a modern twist, obviously, because it's me. So all of my renovations are going to be a little bit more on the modern side, which I think think is fine, because generally when you do renovate something, you renovate it from older to maybe a little bit more newer. So I think that's realistic. And I wanted to splurge on some items. So I think with these base game renovations, the reason why they're tricky is oftentimes if you're limited to really cheap items, it ends up looking very basic and very bland. So I think for me, it's really important to splurge on some key pieces. So in this case, I wanted to splurge on this herringbone base game like honey cream flooring. So I really, really love this flooring. It's one of my favorite floor wood swatches in the entire game, all packs included. It is rather expensive though, but I just think that the tone is so beautiful and it just elevates the space and makes it feel more expensive and clean and polished. So I did decide to splurge on the flooring. So that was my first splurge. The second splurge that I decided to do was the dining table. There aren't the best like dining tables in the game in general. I think like even with the packs, I do think we need a little bit of an improvement in our dining table selection, but this new one they just added in the recent like Sims Delivery Express, it was one of the free updates for base game. We got this beautiful marble dining table. I'm also a little biased towards it because it reminds me of my marble dining table, which I just splurged on for my home as well. But the table is actually like $1,200 or something, so it's really expensive in game. But I thought that it really elevated the space and then just added that nice focal like accent piece to make everything just feel a little bit more expensive. So even though we're using basic furniture everywhere else, I wanted to splurge on that really nice statement marble piece there. Also in the base game update last year, we got tons of new kitchen counter and kitchen island swatches. So there were definitely tons of options here for the kitchen. And I used this nice gray swatch. I thought it was a nice neutral swatch that went nicely with the kind of neutral vibe here. Now I will say that I was running out of money, so I had to start selling off some plants and replacing them with the free debug plants. So that's just what I'm doing. I realized I'm like, oh no, I ran out of money, so I need to find some ways to come up with some money. So I was selling like grass. I was selling literally anything I could just to get back any last dollar. The other thing is the wallpaper. I know that it looks very like peachy and creamy and light colored right now. I end up actually changing it to blue at the very end, and I went back and forth so many times on what the wall color should be, and I really liked this one, but I felt that maybe some people might think it looks too neutral and too kind of like monotone, so I did end up changing it to blue because it added some nice cool toned contrast. But you can just change the wall color to pretty much whatever you like. I think any wall color would work well in this home, and you can pretty much change the wall colors free of charge anyways, so definitely just change it to whatever color suits your sim the best. Now I am really excited to do this series further into other worlds. I think I want to start with like starter homes, so I might go to Brindleton Bay next, I'm thinking, or maybe Del Sol Valley, I'm not sure. And I want to just renovate starter homes using only the base game plus one pack. So if I'm in, Brindleton Bay, I'm only going to use a base game plus cats and dogs. If I'm in, San Myshuno, I'm only going to use a base game plus city living, etc., etc. I'm thinking I want to start with starter homes first just because it's a nice little challenge and the budget is very clear cut. But then I do want to move on to kind of that medium term home as well. So let me know down below which starter home in which world you want me to renovate next. And also let me know down below what's a good budget for like a second stage home. So like after you move out of your first starter home into your next home, like what budget should I set for that? I'm thinking like $35,000 or $40,000 might be a good budget. I was thinking of $50,000, but that might be like a really big jump to get from $20,000 to $50,000. So I'm not sure. So just let me know down below like what is a good like second home budget. Either like 35, 40, or 50 is what I'm thinking in my head, but I'm definitely open to suggestions. suggestions, and let me know what you think of this series idea in general and me just revisiting and reopening Love It or List It on my channel. I think because I do so many curb appeal videos on my channel, and curb appeal is so like luxurious and I go all out, I use all the packs, I don't hold back at all. It's not like it's getting boring for me, but it's definitely like not allowing me to completely think outside the box sometimes, because I always gravitate to those items that I love. Whereas when I do things like this where I restrict myself and I give myself a budget and I limit my packs, it really makes me kind of have to be a little bit more creative and try new things and maybe lean into items that I've never really gravitated towards before. So that's why I think it's important to change it up. So I'm not gonna completely not do curb appeal. I might like alternate, like one week I'll do curb appeal, the next week I'll do Love It or List It. So definitely keep your photo suggestions coming, and also again, let me know down below what EA home you want me to renovate next. The other thing that I forgot to mention is I did end up sinking the living room down, so I think that added so much more dimension to the starter home. Generally, starter homes can tend to just be so kind of basic and one-dimensional and bland kind of, because you're limited to a budget, so really there's not much you can do when you only have 20,000, but I think with the addition of platforms, it allows us to make our homes just so much more interesting looking. And I really like how the living room is sunken down like that. I just think it adds this new level of sophistication to the home, which I really love. And also the thing that I had to get used to with this home, because I'm used to like cluttering up my homes quite a bit, is I had to get used to the fact that there's a lot of empty space. So in the hallway, not every single wall is decorated. Not every single window has curtains. There's not like a little seating area or a plant at every single corner. And I think that that is, you know, just how it is with the starter home. Sometimes it can be a little bit more on the empty side, which I think is great, because for a starter home, it allows you to come into this home and grow your own storyline. There's basically no skill building activities in this room except for that bookcase. There is an empty desk, so if you do decide to save up for a laptop or a computer, you can. If you want to get an easel, or if you want to put a garden patch out front, or even a chess table, there is room for you to purchase and add those things into this home, because there is a lot of empty space, which I think is important for a starter home. I think sometimes we can make our starter home super tiny and tight and cluttered, which is fine because then it can look more lived in, but then it doesn't really give you that room to grow and buy more items and add more things in. So I think this home and the spacing of this home is really inviting for a new player to want to come in and just play with it. So I really hope you guys like it. This was a short and sweet video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you stayed until the very end, and let me know if you would love or list this home in the comments down below, and give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more Love It or List It on my channel. But besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If this is our first time meeting, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to be friends, or if you want to see more Sims 4 videos. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye everybody.